Welcome to another episode of the Selective Podcast. I'm your host, Exsar. This week on the show, we're going to have 4 members of the team, including myself at the Selective, talking to you all. We actually have 2 returning guests and then a brand new face from the team that you're going to be able to meet, which we're really excited to have on board. Yeah, before we get into the introductions, basically what we're going to be talking about this episode is spring and summer. The sun's coming out, the seasons are changing, and it's time for spring and summer fashion. We're going to be talking about kind of what we're seeing in the culture, in the ecosystem, what we're going to be wearing for the spring and summer season, and kind of what we're seeing pop off from other brands for this upcoming season. That being said, guys, to our audience, thanks for tuning in. Let's get right into it. T, welcome back to the show, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm glad to be back. I know I haven't been around for a while, but I'm excited as always to be here, especially with you, Exsar, and some of the other guys. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. Corey, welcome back. This is like your third time, dude. Corey, you're like honestly, dude, at this point, I'm just going to start calling you the co-host.
He's almost the co-host.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just start calling you the co-host. Corey, what's up, dude? How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm excited to be back on the show, and
cool.
I guess let's just keep it rolling.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you coming on. Anytime I open the podcast to like the members of the team, Corey's always like, "Yeah, dude, I can jump on." It's like, hell yeah. And then our new member joining us, Dylan. Dylan is joining us. Dylan, are you out of Phoenix? No, Ohio? Phoenix?
I'm in both. Yes, I'm in Phoenix. I'm in Ohio. I got like 2 different places I go to usually.
Nevertheless, Dylan, thanks for joining us on the show today. Just for the audience, so they know a little bit about you, man. What's your role here at the Selective?
Yeah, man. So I'm Dylan. I'm also Waffle on Instagram if you guys know me from there. At the Selective, though, I'm new to the team, so I've been on it for like 3 weeks. And what I do here is I photograph all the garments, and I usually ship out like the U.S.-based garments.
For sure. And I know, Dylan, you've been kind of like you said, a newer member of the team, but kind of an integral part because we're all over the place in a lot of ways. Like having you on the team has been a great help, especially with more, obviously not with what I do on the podcast front, but on the actual product itself, moving the product. I know T's been working with you a lot in that regard. So, I mean, we're happy to have you, dude. And you have...
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and you have a good sense of style, so it's always... good to have
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, just Saint Laurent, really. That's a big collection of that.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, what month is it? It's March. The sun's coming out. Depending on where you are in the world, it might have already been out. But, for us here in New York, it's getting sunny again. Kind of spring and summer rotations coming in. And we're kind of seeing a little bit of a shift from winter fashion into the spring and summer fashion. And I kind of wanted to talk about, what we're seeing in the culture, if you will, kind of what we're going to be wearing. But for me, I'm looking more into the uniform stuff. I'm going vintage shopping again, buying a lot of vintage tees again, and that's what kind of I've been gravitating towards you. T, what have you been interested in lately, and what do you think is going to be popping off for the next few months?
I don't know about popping off. I mean, I myself have never been a big shorts guy. I don't know. I feel like it's hard to kind of get a fit off wearing shorts, right? So I'm a big in the summer and in the spring, I'm a big linen pants kind of guy.
Oh, sure.
Linen trousers, I love that, right? Because they're very light and kind of breathable. Yeah. So that's something that I've been keeping my eye on. I know that Uniqlo has some really good linen trousers, actually, hidden gem. If you guys are on the lookout. But like you said, Exsar, I mean, vintage tees, right? I mean, that I feel like that never really goes out of style. But since I've been in Brazil as well for the past couple months, I mean, it's been really hot out there. So I've kind of gotten an early start on, I guess, my spring summer fits. But yeah, I mean, linen trousers, vintage tees. I'm seeing kind of like a big resurgence in combat boots as well recently. I don't know. I feel like at least I've been seeing that a lot more on Instagram and stuff. But obviously that's not something that you're really wearing in the spring, summer. But I don't know. I felt like that's something that in the past month, I feel like it's been all over my Instagram, combat boots.
Yeah, and Corey and Dylan, we've kind of talked about that too. Is combat boots like? We've seen like Guidis pop off recently. A lot of people wearing Guidis.
Dude, Guidis are all over the place.
You're in the market for a pair too, right, Dylan?
I am, yeah. For the 788s, I think.
Oh yeah, those are the back zips, the front zips.
Yeah, the back zips.
Yeah.
Right.
The taller ones too, I think.
Yeah, a little taller. And it's like, well, my camera's doing some weird thing. And it's like, regardless of like the season, I agree with T. I think people are still going to be wearing boots despite the heat. I think like we've seen, especially in streetwear, kind of I don't want to say like a shift away from sneakers because sneakers are still big, but I don't know. Maybe it's the Instagram effect, but I feel like people are going to be wearing boots a lot this upcoming season.
No, on the topic of sneakers, like you said, I mean, I do agree, XR. I feel like, I mean, we were seeing so many dunks. We were seeing so many like beige laces, cream laces. I mean, that was like so big for a while. And I feel like recently there's kind of been this move away from like Jordan 1s and dunks.
Yeah.
I feel like TikTok also kind of plays a role in that. I myself do not go on TikTok. I don't have TikTok, but even on Instagram nowadays, I mean, that kind of stuff kind of filters over from TikTok, and you end up seeing a lot of these trends. And I mean, I know that Jordan 1s especially got extremely popularized right through TikTok, and I feel like that's actually had a greater impact on like fashion as a whole almost, because I mean, you're seeing like people who would never even gravitate towards wearing like Nike sneakers or sneakers in general, where Jordan 1s have kind of become like almost like a luxury item, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And we've seen, from even like the most expensive pairs to like years past, like different Jordan models have like kind of like it's more than just clout, but kind of like have like reverence around them. And I don't think that the Jordan 1 in particular, the dunks might not go away. I hope in my mind though that they set more to like a classic style where it's less like trend driven going forward, because obviously the dunk was like a huge trend this past year, and like the Jordan 1 was a huge trend. But I like those silhouettes so much that going forward, I don't want them to be a trend. Like I just want it to be, part of everyone's wardrobe, if you will. Same thing with like the LV sneakers, like staples.
For me, I've always been a fan of the Jordan 1, right? I mean, I've had the fragments since they came out. I mean, I've always been a big Jordan 1 guy, and I feel like the fact that they have become kind of so mainstream has kind of made me want to gravitate away from that. But the fact that now they're kind of stepping away from that limelight kind of makes me want to reach for that pair in the back of the closet again and kind of start pulling out the Jordan 1s again. I feel like, I don't know, for me, it's very much like comes in waves, right? I can go periods of time without wearing any high top sneakers or any like Jordan 1s or any Nikes, any dunks. And then I can go periods of time where that's all I'm wearing.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Corey, any boots on your radar? Speaking of boots and I guess just going on with what we're talking about with the footwear, anything you're wearing right now?
For me, I've actually been wearing a lot of sneakers just because, well, I have like I used to have like a rotation of it's either my Navigates when it's like kind of like raining or whatever, or it's Jordans whenever it's specifically Jordan 1s. I only wear Jordan 1s. And yeah, like you guys said, I think Jordan 1s are just such an amazing silhouette. I love wearing them, and I mean I have 5 pairs, so I guess I'm a bit of a like Jordan 1 fanboy, because I'm not like a huge fan of the other Jordans. Like, I think other people can pull off things like the 4s, the 3s, but I find for myself personally, my legs look way too like skinny, and they look really odd when worn with like those bulkier sneakers. In terms of people going with like away from sneakers, one thing I was thinking of, or I've been seeing a lot, is loafers, like especially those. I know they're not Celine. I know Celine did a pair of loafers that look really like them. I think they're from a brand called, I think it's like Weegens or something like that. As well as the fact that I remember Dior's Resort Runway, as well as Louis Runway for Resort menswear. They wore a ton of loafers and those not exactly derbies, like, and as well as also I've seen those Prada derbies, the ones I think Ken wore. I think he has them.
They're like kind of chunkier.
Yeah. I've seen those. Like, I've seen a lot of, I guess, traditional hypebeasts shy away from sneakers and move more towards, I guess, this kind of more mature footwear, I guess, is the word I'm looking for.
I would agree with the more mature footwear idea. And I think that's just like a natural cycle of just fashion as we're seeing it, right? Like people are, if you're into streetwear, the echo chamber on Instagram is also showing you boots. It's also showing it's also showing you derbies. It's also showing you loafers. In fact, for loafers myself, I want a pair of like Gucci Horsebit loafers, just like a classic loafer, just because I think they look good. And I think they look good with vintage fits in particular.
Yeah, I got a pair of those.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, those are nice.
Oh man, exactly. They look classic. They look nice. Dylan, you're like huge into the boot game, dude.
A little bit, yeah. I would say
Yeah,
that.
this guy has more boots than Sanchez.
Dude, at one point I had 19 pairs of just Saint Laurent, like Wyatt.
How do you see it then? Because we're seeing a lot of people like T mentioned and like we've been talking about more people get into boots. How have like you seen boots become more acceptable, I guess, in the streetwear landscape, through your years collecting?
So through the years collecting, I've seen them pop up a lot more lately than before. So before, when I was trying to collect all the Saint Laurent ones, it was really hard for me to find them because I'd have to go on Yahoo Japan and all that crap, like Bai and everything,
Right.
Facebook Marketplace, and I would only find one pair like every 5 months, and it might not be my size, And one thing, Corey, I want your Navigates because I sold mine for $800 way back in the day, and I'm
300.
so pissed. I'm still
Holy
800,
shit.
800, 800.
Oh, 800. Yeah. Holy shit.
300, dude, I would have died. I wouldn't be alive right now. But I want my pair back. So I still want Guidi's too. But I had 19 pairs at one point, and then I just decided one day I was going to get into sneakers. So I started getting the sneakers as of probably 6 months ago. And like you were saying, Corey, I only like the Jordan 1s. I cannot pull off the 4s, the 3s, any of the Jordan. I only like the 1s. For like my personal style though, like for the summer, I think I'm going to do raw denim and like a blank white shirt, maybe some Vans. Maybe some Jordan 1s. I'm not sure yet because in Arizona it gets too hot, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
You cannot. If it's 125 degrees outside, for example, like it'll get to that point.
Right.
In August, mid-August, it'll get to 122, 123.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Trust me, I know, dude.
So,
growing up in Texas, like July, August, are like the worst months. Like you can't even go outside.
Dude,
most
it's
days.
horrible.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's horrible.
So
I'll be in raw denim that whole time.
Yeah, I feel that. T, you've been rocking the Vans for years, dude. Especially in the summer, man.
Yeah, actually. It's funny that you brought that up, Dylan. I hadn't even thought about it, but I mean, I've always been a big Vans guy, specifically Vans Vault. I feel like the silhouette of any like slip-on Vans, OGs, like any Vans are better when they're Vans Vault. Not only because the insole is like softer and more comfortable, but I feel like the overall silhouette of the shoe is always nicer when it has that thicker sole that the Vans Vault carry, right? So like
I agree, yeah.
The John Vans, for example, those are Vans Volt, and so are the Notre Vans. Like there's several really good pair of Vans that have that thicker sole, which I mean I love. I myself have also been buying a lot of Vans. I feel like Vans are big sleepers, especially when you're picking up like really nice colorways with suede on them or whatnot for like $90, $80, $70. I mean, for me, I feel like you can't really go wrong. And I mean, I did say that I don't usually like to wear shorts, but like Dylan said, I mean, sometimes the weather doesn't really permit for you to do anything but that, right? I mean, sometimes you really just have to wear the shorts. And I feel like a pair of slip-on Vans Vault Vans with a pair of shorts and like a white t-shirt or a vintage tee, I think that you can't really ever go wrong with something like that, right? I mean, it's not the most creative, it's not the craziest fit, but at the end of the day, I mean, it gets the job done, right?
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite pairs of Vans actually that I have is the Blends Vans. Do you know about those?
I actually don't.
The name rings a bell.
They have the bones on the side.
Oh, okay.
I do.
Oh, yeah.
Those are so sick, dude. I found those for like $100 back in the day.
Yeah.
Like way back when.
And that's the thing, man. For all the people listening, like trying to get into like uniform fits or like trying to just get fits in the summer and in the spring when the weather is getting a little warmer. I mean, I think T's a good example of this, for example, and some other people on the team are a good example of this, and just finding inspiration on Instagram. Like you can wear like, I mean, I don't know, you have an expensive watch, you have expensive rings, you have like a nice vintage t-shirt, a Grail vintage t-shirt. But you can't go wrong with like a $90 pair of Vans, and it still completes the look in a way that, you know, you look good and it's not too flashy, it's not too light, it just gets the job done. And like, you know, for those, I just feel like fashion is always kind of like a rat race to get like the latest shit sometimes. And sometimes just like throwing on a pair of slip-ons is okay. You know what I mean? And I think
Definitely.
like normalizing that for spring and summer and like have, you know, just wearing what's comfortable is a good shout.
I mean, for me, I feel like I've kind of retired from like the whole fake game and everything on Instagram and stuff. But for me nowadays, it's very much all about really just being comfortable. I mean, like you said, Exsar, nowadays, I feel like with the pandemic and everything, I mean, the last episode I came on, we did discuss some of our spending habits and whatnot as a result of the pandemic. And I mean, I feel like I myself prioritize comfort these days for sure, because I know that at the end of the day, I'm not going to be out of my house for that long. And I mean, there's not really much I can do. I'm not going to university right now. I'm not really traveling right now. So if I ever step out of the house, buy some groceries or put some gas in my car or something like that, like I know it's never going to be for that long. And I know that I'm going to end up coming home and keeping that same fit on. So at the end of the day, I'm trying to be comfortable when I'm at home, right? So I've kind of implemented that mentality into my whole like dressing up.
I kind of want to go back into what Dylan was saying about navigates and selling the navigates, and obviously like that silhouette, like that combat boot is really popular for people looking to get into combat boots. Like you don't have to go buy a pair from the first, or you don't have to go buy a pair of navigates. Like you can get a good vintage combat boots for a pretty cheap price.
Mhm.
But like it's funny that like especially with the navigate in particular, we've seen like the price like fluctuate so much. I know like fools have when they bought them, they were like hella cheap. T, I think you sold a pair.
Yeah, I bought my pair for like $600 and then I sold it for like $860. Thought I came up on a bag, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I had those like maybe 4 years ago. I want to say 3 years ago.
Yeah, and like obviously the hype back then was a little different to now. So Dylan, if you had a choice between a pair of Guidis and a pair of Navigates to get your pair back, what would you be going with right now?
Price wise, probably the Guidis, but I want the Navigates really bad. I'm not gonna lie, but you can't find a pair for under like what, 1,800 now for a nice, not heavily used pair.
Yeah, and it might depend on sizing too.
For sure.
Corey, you're more familiar with like how the market, in some ways, like what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I paid $1,200 for my own nuggets, but I thought it was like really, really good deal. I bought mine a few months ago, but yeah, I remember like I think I also saw a pair go. It was like a dead stock pair of patent ones go for 4,000 on Grailed.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I mean, the thing with the Navigates is that like I think there's a billion combat boots that you could buy that have effectively that kind of slim, tall shape, right? Like there's the Andy, the backlace boots. I think are a really good alternative to the Navigates as well.
I agree.
Yeah.
Or like from the first, like Exsar mentioned. But yeah, I think the thing is, I think what navigates what's caused the price influx is that like, or price increase, sorry, is that like back in the day, I feel like navigates were only kind of a thing on like these niche fashion forums like Slash FA or Style Forum or Kanye to the stuff like that. Whereas now, I guess like the mainstream kind of fashion, like the mainstream menswear fashion market kind of knows more about them, right? And that's caused an increase in demand, which caused the price increase.
I think more like recognition in the space and on social media has like obviously fluctuated a lot of these prices up and down. But yeah, man, I mean, going away from boots and other stuff, T, you answered, what you're going to be wearing this summer. Corey, what are you going to be wearing this summer, dude?
So the thing is that I actually haven't been able to basically wear any summer fits because it's
you're in Canada.
Yeah, so the weather's been fluctuating. Like today it's like 15, but then tomorrow it's supposed to be tomorrow's supposed to be 0. Or sorry, yeah, tomorrow's supposed to be 0, and the day after that's supposed to be 0. So and that's Celsius, not Fahrenheit. So because I don't know fucking the Fahrenheit, but yeah.
I don't know Celsius.
Same.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think 0 Celsius and 0 Fahrenheit might be the same. I don't fucking know. I don't know.
I think 0 is 32.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. 0 is 32. 0 Celsius is 32 Fahrenheit.
Yo, so when Dylan said it was 120, you were like.
I know Fahrenheit is like it's like a lot larger than Celsius, but I have no idea I don't know the conversion at all.
God,
yeah,
dude.
I'm in Celsius.
I think it's like 45 Celsius for 122 Fahrenheit or something, but it's hot as hell. Just so you know.
That's hot as fuck. Yeah.
That's hot as hell. Yeah.
That's so.
Yeah, I wouldn't even want to go outside in that weather.
Man, it's so crazy how like us 4 fools are just sitting here and 2 of us are like thinking in Celsius and 2 of us are thinking in Fahrenheit, and it's just so weird how like. I don't know. The world's such a small place these days. Anyways,
for sure.
Anyway, so when it starts warming up in Canada, Corey, which I don't know what the summer's like where you're at, but whatever it is, bro, what are you gonna be wearing?
Well, weather-wise, I'd say it's pretty similar to like New York City in the summer. So for me, it's probably just gonna be. So it's funny that T mentioned Uniqlo earlier because there's a pair of trousers they do. It's called I think it's like Kando or Conda. I don't know how you pronounce that. But it's basically the exact same fit as the regular trouser, but just it's made in a much lighter material. It's like much more breathable and thinner, which I don't really wear that for summer when it's like not super hot. But when I get forced to wear, shorts, I normally just go with a plain white tee, sneakers, or I go with something like a vintage tee, right? Ideally, I'd love to wear stuff like, have you ever seen like those like Hider Spring Summer 15, those like crazy, almost pirate-esque, like with the crazy silk patterned silk trousers. I'd love to wear
Yeah.
stuff like that, but I just can't justify purchasing those kinds of pieces because of the fact that I live in Canada and I can only really wear them for probably about 3 months of the year. So it's just not really worth it for me. But yeah,
I need to start going to Uniqlo more.
Best
For
in the business.
yeah,
for
I know,
sure.
and
Yeah,
you've
I
been
love
saying
Uniqlo.
you've been saying that for years though, haven't you? About like
For
like their
years,
basics.
dude. I mean, for me, I feel like I used to be that guy that, more expensive was always better, right?
Yeah.
Like if something was designer in my head, it was like, okay, the material's definitely better. Like this, it's just gonna fit better. It's just gonna be better. And I feel like over time, I kind of, because of Uniqlo, I think it kind of changed when I went to Singapore because my parents are actually really big on Uniqlo. Like everything they wear is Uniqlo.
Really?
And yeah, and we were on family vacation in Singapore. I remember well, and my whole family, my brother, my sister, and my parents and I, we went to Uniqlo in Singapore, and I remember just seeing a pair of trousers, and I was like, oh, these look kind of nice. Like the color's nice. I tried them on. I was like, wow, these fit great. I'm gonna buy these, right? Look at the price tag. They were like $50, maybe $60, and I was like, wow, that's really cheap, right? So at that point, it was kind of open season for me, where I just kind of started looking around for stuff that I thought looked cool because I knew it was kind of all going to be cheap, and the material actually felt pretty good. And I remember specifically, my whole family ran up all the items that we had picked out, and we ran up like $1,800 in Uniqlo. And I feel like I've never seen anybody run up $1,800 in Uniqlo. But like, let me tell you, we got clothes for like 5 people for like a whole year.
Yeah, you got like
honestly.
a whole new wardrobe
Yeah.
for your entire
Oh
family.
yeah, I got like 10 black t-shirts, 10 white t-shirts, 10 gray t-shirts, like 3 pairs of trousers, each in a different color. Trousers in linen, sweatshirts, hoodies. I mean, you name it. Like, because for me, at the end of the day, if you're not looking for that logo and you're not looking for that branding, I don't see why you would buy anything that isn't from Uniqlo, because Uniqlo has very minimal branding or no branding at all, honestly, on almost all their pieces, which for me is probably the biggest selling point, actually, because I know that a lot of these fast fashion places like H&M or Zara, I mean, they fall into the trap of trying to copy what is high fashion, but instead, since they have to provide it at a low price point, it ends up being kind of like low quality, or it looks fake, or it looks cheap. I feel like Uniqlo never falls into that kind of hole. So I can't say enough about Uniqlo. I love Uniqlo.
I got to say one thing for the listeners right now. Throw away your Calvins, throw away your Ralphs, get the Aerism Uniqlo boxers. They're the best in the business by far.
Yeah.
By far.
They are, dude. And speak and like, when I know this is like spring summer shit, but like in the winter when it's like super cold in New York, dude, the Uniqlo Heat Tech like literally saves my life.
Dude.
Literally saves my life, dude, because it gets so cold, and like the Heat Tech boxers and the Heat Tech like long sleeves, the thermals, they just like keep me really warm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Uniqlo's a good shout, and I gotta pick up a pair of linen trousers. I know, in my opinion, linen, especially like nice flowy linen trousers, kind of give like an elevated look to it, more like a sleek menswear look to it. That's something I'm trying to incorporate a little bit more, and something I haven't really dabbled in the past. Ironically enough, living in Texas, but I think this summer I'm gonna try to dabble in some linen.
I can definitely see you incorporating that into your style for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. So
For sure, I think it would work really well with like that kind of almost like kind of Western vibe you have with a lot of your fits.
Yeah, I think it would work out too. So we'll see as the weather heats up. But to the audience, man, like T said, like you don't have to break the bank on any stuff. Like, if there's a vintage tee you want that is a little bit more expensive, and it's like a one-off one piece, something that's going to be unique to you, like go for it. But you don't need to go, especially with some of these fast fashion retailers. There's no need to go to Zara and H&M for basics when companies like Uniqlo do basics at a higher quality, and you're going to get more bang for your buck. For what you're getting, especially in the spring and summer when you're not layering a lot. It's really simple pieces. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think Dylan made a point about the Airs and boxers, but I mean, another big point that I have to make is if you buy your blank t-shirts anywhere but Uniqlo, I don't know what you're doing with your life, right? I mean, I know that
wasting money.
once a year
Yeah.
they do this thing in
They
New
put on
York
sale.
specifically. Yeah, exactly. So every t-shirt usually is $10. It's the best t-shirts they have are the Supima cotton, like regular neck t-shirts.
Yeah.
They're $10 a piece, but like
Mhm.
once a year, or I don't know if it's once a year, but I know that it's usually
I think
around
it's seasonal.
summertime. Yeah, I go to New York, or when I'm in New York, I specifically wait for this specific sale where it's like buy 2 t-shirts, get the third one free, or like buy 2 t-shirts and like buy 1 t-shirt and the second one costs $8 instead of 10. Like, and then I'll just go in there and I'll buy 10 white t-shirts, 10 gray t-shirts, 10 black t-shirts, right? I mean, I feel like you just can't go
Yeah.
wrong at that point.
No, last summer I literally did the exact same thing. Except it was online, so they didn't have the get one free. It was just like everything was just like 50%. All the t-shirts were 50% off, and then
Damn,
same thing.
that's a steal. $5.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good shout. And $5 in places like H&M is not gonna get you shit. But in
It's not
Uniqlo,
gonna get you shit.
right?
And if it does get you shit, it will get you garbage.
It'll get you literal shit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, I want to transition a little bit to kind of what like the homies in Instagram and YouTube have been doing, kind of like upcoming brands we're seeing for spring and summer. Obviously, shout out Ken with Vuja Day. I know Vuja Day is coming out with a collection pretty soon. He's been teasing a little bit of that on his Instagram. Not much, just like little pieces here and there. But I'm kind of saying how like people want to be like connect a little bit more, like with brands and like connect with the people making these brands. And
sure.
it's gotten to the point where, like, for me personally, like I've been buying brands from the homies, whether it's Bare Knuckles, other brands, from people that I personally connect with. So I just wanted to see, what brands you all are vibing with right now.
So I can start. I'd like to support Texclo at Texclo on Instagram.
Oh my god, bro! Every time. You did this episode one,
dude. The best pants.
Exactly.
Best pants in the business. Yeah.
Shameless.
But yeah, I definitely do agree with you on what you're saying. Is there's definitely an appeal to being able to buy something from someone that you support or someone that you're friends with over buying from like a corporation like Nike, Gucci, whatever, right? Especially if like the creator of that brand is someone that you can kind of like vibe with, right? In terms of people like, I don't know, Ken or Sanjeev, for example, right? So yeah, I mean, aside from that, I haven't really bought any clothing recently, so yeah, I guess I'll move on to whoever wants to talk next.
Dylan, you got anything, any brands you're vibing with right now, or you want to support in the near future?
Probably just Ken's Vuja Day. Obviously Uniqlo, because I buy all my stuff from there.
Yeah.
All my blank t-shirts. And then just a bunch of vintage shirts, honestly, like a bunch of Nintendo shirts. I've been really rocking with those lately.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
To find a bunch like I got a Mario 64 shirt that I just bought. Bought a second one. I'm trying to find a Super Mario Sunshine one, but I mean, all these ones I can't find. It's just hard to find, and the price too. It's ridiculous how much they're going up.
Yeah.
I feel like that's another thing too. If we're going way back to what we were talking about earlier, the price of vintage gaming shirts has risen so much.
Yeah. I guess it's like the trend, right? People went from, I guess, rock and rap to now gaming. And I assume, like, my guess is that next will be like movies or TV shows.
The only thing
I can see that, yeah.
The only thing I'm worried about, dude, is that like there's so many people trying to get into vintage. I'm just worried it's like, I don't want to say gentrified, but like people are like hiking up
kill the market.
People are like hiking up their prices a lot with vintage.
For sure.
And like I'm down with spending like, I bought a Jerry Garcia t-shirt last week, like super beat up, holes everywhere. It was like $100. Like to me, that's worth it. Like that holds a story for me. Like I like that shirt. But some of these shirts and some of these things are getting so expensive that it's honestly kind of worrying to me, because I think like the appeal with vintage is that like how it's inclusive for like a lot of people, price wise, and then but like vintage is getting really expensive. Like you were saying, Dylan.
It's like at the peak right now, in my opinion, of like, I guess you'd call it hype.
I think that as more and more people get into the vintage game, I mean, it's kind of inevitable that the price will keep going up. I mean, it's supply and demand, right?
Right.
Vintage at the end of the day, it's vintage because it's from a long time ago, so it's not being produced right now. And as more and more players kind of enter the vintage game, for me, it's inevitable that these prices will keep going up. I do think that vintage is quite expensive right now, but at the end of the day, you can still find some steals. But I personally love to shop for vintage in person. Has to be in person. I'm
Yeah.
not that guy. I'm not that guy that's on Grailed buying stuff that's vintage because I want to be able to try it on. Because first of all, like stuff shrinks over time, right? That's a huge thing for me. I'm usually a men's small, or sometimes I can wear a medium. But I have vintage tees that are a large. I have vintage tees that are a medium. You know, I have vintage tees that are an extra large. Like, I feel like, and you also need to be able to feel the item. Like, you want to be able to feel how thick it is or how thin it is. You know, how soft it is. Like for me, vintage pieces have that extra value because of how time has affected that certain garment, right? And so I feel like you have to be in person to feel that, to be able to really appreciate that.
And I agree, like vintage shopping in person obviously is a lot easier because you can kind of gauge what the fabric feels like on body, you know, what it feels like on you as well. I don't know who mentioned it earlier. Someone mentioned Sanjeev. And I guess a little, I don't want to say a teaser to the audience, but I might be working on an editorial piece about Sanjeev and his two collections that he's dropped. Still ironing out the kinks with that, maybe. Anyways,
Nice.
but I think it's interesting how like we see people like in YouTube and on Instagram who like want to create clothes and want to be, you know, in the process of being in the fashion industry and making their own stuff. And if I'm going to be honest with you, I think everybody that I've seen so far, whether it's Vujade, whether it's Sanj, Bare Knuckles, I think everybody has done a really good job at creating clothes without it being like V-Loan or like just like printed off white T-shirts. Like people are getting like good at being creative with these brands.
There's a level of design there that's not just it's not merch. It's actually like a brand, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. I think that that's the big difference between like the people that are famous on social media and are like TikTokers or influencers or whatever, and then the people who are in this kind of fashion space that we're kind of in. Because yeah, I mean, it's what Corey said. They're not making merch, right? These people who are famous, who are singers or TikTokers or whatever they do, they make merch, right? They make a hoodie with their face on it, or like some really shitty print on a really bad blank. You know, they're just trying to make money. But I feel like there is, like Corey said, this higher element of actual design in these brands that are being made by these guys who are quote unquote influencers within our space.
It's honestly really refreshing to see that, because I think, you know, we've kind of are gravitating away from just like shitty merch and moving into like actual cut and sew pieces, and things of that nature. But yeah, T, I wanted to ask you, are you planning, I don't even know if this is an appropriate thing to ask for the freaking podcast, but are you planning on releasing anything more besides pants in the future?
I'm not sure, man. I mean, life's really crazy right now. I'm in university, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing class online. I hope to be back in New York in August, but I probably will be. But you know, these days we never really know. And I feel like at the Selective, I'm doing something that I really enjoy. I love doing the podcast, which is something that we're working on every day more and more. We hope to be able to integrate, visual components very soon.
Yeah.
I don't know if Exsar mentioned, but Exsar also is located in and around New York City. So once I'm back there in the summer, it'll be a lot easier for us to be able to organize a podcast studio and for us to both be in the same room and have some really great guests in and be able to have all that visual component. And so, I'm really enjoying kind of doing all of the stuff that I'm really doing right now and designing clothes and making clothes and dealing with manufacturers and dealing with distribution. Those things are exhausting and they actually take a lot of work, a lot more work than a lot of these kids seem to think, right? I mean, it's very easy for you to order a hoodie online and then 1 week later you don't have a tracking number. It's very easy for you to be like, yo, where the fuck is my shit? Like, what's going on? But especially now during the pandemic, I mean, I'm telling you from firsthand experience, these things are hard and these things, they take time and they take effort and there's so many headaches involved. And so, I mean, I think Amazon created that problem really because you can order something online. Yeah, Amazon spoils you, man. Like, we take for granted how amazing Amazon is. The fact that you can order something online and have it the next day at your doorstep or the day after. I mean, stuff doesn't actually work like that in the world, right? Like, not all of us are trillion-dollar companies that can afford to have the logistics that Amazon does to be able to distribute like they do. So, I mean, for a product to take 1 week to arrive at your house or even 2 weeks, I mean, not that should be the norm, but I feel like
that's what it used to be because that was the norm.
like the modern day buyer has an expectation that from the moment that their money leaves their account, their item should be like
Yeah.
at their doorstep,
The
right?
expectation is skewed, right, by companies like Amazon. And like something you mentioned about that is, for example, uh, when I tried selling some items to people in China, right, a lot of them, they don't like buying things from foreigners. One reason is because it's like probably
Language.
some kind of like, yeah, language. Other reason is that for them it takes way too long to get there. Like in China, when you buy something, it comes there like within a day. It's like Amazon, but it's even crazier because uh, on the apps that you have, the tracking apps, you can literally see exactly where the truck is, like in the country,
Right.
like the exact like GPS location. It's really crazy, but um, yeah. So for them, they don't want to see like you tell them, okay, yeah, it's going to come to you in like 3 to 4 weeks. Like, don't you know, don't charge back or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
it's a stressful time to like be in that business. Like I know Sanj, like his stuff took a while to get to me. And like I wasn't tripping at all about it because like I know logistically that's a nightmare. He had to get his
Mhm.
product from like Portugal and then from Portugal to the UK and then from the UK I had to get to me through customs. And he was like always posting updates on the story about like, hey, like my product hasn't gotten here from Portugal yet. And like IT was saying, like we are spoiled from Amazon. Like one of my
Mhm.
favorite pair of trousers that I just throw on every day when I want to is like just a pair of Wrangler Ranchers, and you can get them on Amazon for like $30, and they get to my door in like one freaking day. And
Yeah,
that is not normal. You know what I mean?
totally.
Like that like that shouldn't be how fast we get our stuff, but Amazon has spoiled us in that respects. And
Mhm.
when I got Sanja's products, it was great to have him in hand, but I wouldn't blame him personally for
Yeah, it's the shipping companies really and customs.
exactly. And yeah, I think we are spoiled with shipping and the logistical. I mean, there are a lot of logistical nightmares with having a brand. Dylan, I think you posted
Mhm.
on your story the other day, dude. You got like a pair of boots, and they were just like shoved in a box.
Oh my god, dude. So
Yeah.
backstory on that. Let me give you the backstory on that. So that was a post from like 2018 that I had. I
Oh,
just had
okay,
to
okay.
repost it because I had no content to post. But we've all been there. But I bought it from this dude who's been like a known scammer, and I thought, you know what? I'll test
Mm,
my luck. He's not. I'm not gifting him. He's invoicing me,
Mhm.
so I can get my
You can
money
always
back.
charge back.
I'm exactly. I'm gonna test my luck. And the boots came after 2 months of me waiting, and he said he shipped them in a box. And I said, okay, cool, yeah, like an actual box, right? If you go to my Instagram, instagram.com/waffle WOFOL, you'll see the post. He shipped 2 pairs of boots, fall winter 13 Cowboys and fall winter 16 Chelsea boots in
Mhm.
a small box that could barely fit one pair of boots. And they were, dude, I can't even describe how they looked. You got to go look at the post. It's insane.
yeah,
But hey, they got here. They got here. I mean, I can't complain.
yeah, but they were
Yeah.
just like shoved in a box, and like that's the thing with
Dude,
like
they were shoved over. They were folding over each other.
yeah, it's
Mhm.
just a nightmare to buy and sell stuff right now. But that's interesting to you that you're saying that like your efforts you feel might be better suited on other projects because of
Maybe not better suited on other projects. I mean, I've always kind of liked the idea of making my own
mm,
clothes. I mean, the reason, for example, that I did the trousers is that when I was younger, um, I wanted to have a pair of trousers that had a really good fit and they were like warm, so they looked like wool or they were actual wool, but they weren't itchy, and I wanted the lining to be silk, right? Because I wanted it to
Mm.
be like stupid comfortable. At the time, I had a tailor that I used to work with in Switzerland where I was living, and I asked him, I was like, "Yo, if you source the materials for me, do you think that you could make me these trousers the way I want them?" And he was like, "Yeah, I definitely can." And eventually, we did some samples and whatnot. But ended up making 3 pairs of trousers for me that all had the silk lining. And I mean, it cost me a lot of money to do, right? But I mean, it was something that I wanted to do just for myself, so it was fine. And I wore those trousers like into the ground, those 3 pairs. Like I don't even have them anymore because I wore them actually into the ground. Like I would wear them every single day. I would switch between the three. I mean, there was one that was black, one that was light gray, and one that was dark gray. And that was like the pants that I was basically wearing and a lot of the fits that I was putting off or and all of that. And so a lot of people ended up messaging me like, yo, where'd you get those pants? Yo, where'd you get those pants? And I would always have to tell people like, yeah, I mean, I actually got these made by this tailor that I work with. Like, you can't really actually buy them. And that kind of always rubbed people the wrong way, or they would tell me like, oh, that's awesome, like if you ever make those, like let me know, I would love to get a pair. And so for me, I knew that at the end of the day, if I made a pair of trousers that had silk lining and everything and it fit great, they would cost a lot of money, right, with the silk lining and everything. I mean, I was using Loro Piana wool as well on the outside. I mean, these were very special pairs of trousers. And that's what eventually would go on to inspire my project that I did with Text, which basically, I mean, yeah, it was just a pair of really great fitting trousers that you could wear every single day and that were super comfortable. And so, yeah, I mean, that's kind of how that came about.
I mean, yeah, and maybe in the future, once Uniqlo stops selling good T-shirts, you'll supply
You
us.
gotta get your own customs, right?
We'll get uniform T-shirts from you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked that whole concept and idea of making clothes for yourself that you feel like are not actually out there, that you can't actually buy. And so, yeah, maybe I will get back into it one day for sure. I mean, that's definitely not something that I rule out from my future. So,
yeah, 100%. Guys, I know we've been all over the place, but it's been a fun discussion, man. We're hitting on 45 minutes here. So I appreciate y'all coming on. I just wanted to go around and ask one more question, if you will. Your ideal summer outfit. For me, vintage T-shirt, a pair of Levi 501s, and a pair of boots. I'm going to be wearing that all summer. Maybe a trucker hat too. Just add a little bit of spice. Corey, what are you going to be wearing? What's your one outfit you can wear this summer?
I might have to just go full Instagram archive hype beast. Well, not archive, but Issei pleats. One of my I have two pairs. I have a black and a beige pair. The beige pair I got, I actually had to buy it in Asia because it was completely sold out in Essence everywhere. Anyways, then probably a hider bomber, either one of the silk ones from Spring Summer 15.
Bro, that's not a summer fit.
I know, bro. You're that's like a grow fit, bro. What are you doing?
You mean a shearling too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have the fur, sweat it out, right?
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, no. I'd just love to wear in an ideal world, I'd wear some really nice silk trousers, probably one of those really cool hider ones with the chevron pattern, and then probably a pair of so I have these Celine loafers. They're not. I don't know exactly. They're basically a boot, but they're low tops. They're called the Jacquinot loafers, I think. That or a pair of the so I don't actually have the Saint Laurent Ys. I have a pair of Saint Laurent Ys, but the ones that I normally wear, which are harnessless, are from Story A Fall or whatever they're called.
Yeah. Story at Fall. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So one of those, but realistically, because I like to be comfortable, I'd probably end up just wearing these Vans, which I have. They're kind of actually, it's funny. I bought them from some Italian retailer on sale for $45, and they look identical to the Jound ones, the gray and white Jound ones, but they're not Jound because And I think what Vans did was they re-released the Jound colorways in slightly shittier tones, and made it because there was a green and a brown as well that were just slightly worse looking than the Jound ones. But yeah, so I'd wear those or a pair of Jordan 1s, any of the ones I have, and then just probably these black Uniqlo shorts I have, or a pair of gray trousers from Uniqlo.
Cool.
And then, a white tee, either tucked in or hanging out, and probably some cool jewelry on the side and necklace. Yeah.
This guy's always making shit complicated, bro.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, I'm a fucking nerd about fashion.
The guy just gave us a closet tour.
I know, dude. Come on, man.
Visual closet tour.
Dylan, one outfit for the summer. What you rocking, man?
Dude, I'm boring. So let me tell you, the top's going to be a blank T-shirt, maybe a white Uniqlo, maybe a black Uniqlo, maybe a vintage shirt of some sort. We're going to do APC raw denim for the bottoms, maybe some Tesco, who knows. And then we're going to do maybe a pair of boots, maybe a pair of Guidis if I do buy a pair. We'll get some Guidis in the rotation, but we might do some Vans, maybe some boots or Vans. That's it. Or Converse. We'll see.
Converse 70s or maybe Japan Converse. One of those,
made in Japan.
Yeah, the best Converse, bro.
There's there's APC Kanye vibes.
Yeah, if Corey were to chew Converse, he'd chew the Chrome Hearts Converse and give us a whole fucking synopsis on.
Yeah, dude, I talk about how the lace holes are specially crafted from
Whatever.
American silver, some bullshit like that.
Jesus Christ. T1 fit this summer, bro. What you rocking?
Something easy. White t-shirt. This Uniqlo linen trousers that I have that are kind of like this greenish, beigeish, brownish color, and then Dior lows.
Damn. Hit him with the fire at the end, bro.
Yeah, Dior Jordan 1 lows, and then a nice watch. Call it a day.
Nice. I like that. That's a good summer fit. Guys, to the audience, thanks for not only tuning into the podcast, but sticking around and listening to us ramble throughout the episode. As always, our Instagram link and our website will be linked in the description of the podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this week's episode. To T, to Dylan, to Corey, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for joining on the show. As always, keep it locked in on the Selective for more. We got a lot of good stuff coming down the pipe, not only in terms of editorials, not only in terms of content, but also with future drops that we're working on as well. So
some great new items coming up very soon, so keep a lookout on that.
Super exciting stuff. Yeah. Keep a lookout for the drops. Like T said, we're going to have some really, really good items available, and we're going to keep growing like we've been doing. So appreciate the support. Guys, thanks for coming on, and we will see you next week.